Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries, the channel where everyday pocket change turns into jaw-dropping treasure. Today's video may completely change the way you look at the state quarters in your drawer, your wallet, or that old coffee can you've ignored for years. Because hidden among millions of ordinary quarters are 7 ultra-rare state quarter dollar coins that shocked collectors, stunned auction houses, and in some cases sold for life-changing money. Take a close look at this 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Washington Quarter in fine condition, because what appears ordinary at first glance can quietly cross into extraordinary territory when the right details line up. This coin was struck to celebrate America's 200th birthday, and unlike any other quarter before or after it, the date shows 1776 to 1976, a dual year that instantly sets it apart. On the front, George Washington's portrait looks soft but still clear in this fine-grade example. You can see honest wear on the high points of his hair and cheek, yet the profile remains bold enough to confirm authenticity. That balanced wear tells a story of real circulation, not damage, which seasoned collectors actually respect. Now turn the coin over, and this is where the magic truly begins. Instead of the familiar eagle, you'll see the colonial drummer boy, torch in hand, surrounded by victory stars. Even in fine condition, the drum lines are visible, the torch shape is intact, and the lettering remains readable. Many bicentennial quarters lost these details completely, but this one still speaks clearly across time. Here's what most people don't realize. Over 1.6 billion bicentennial quarters were minted, leading many to believe they're all common. That assumption is exactly why rare examples slip through unnoticed. Value doesn't come from age alone, it comes from strike quality, planchet anomalies, metal composition, and die errors. Even on coins, people think they know. In circulated fine condition like this, a standard bicentennial quarter might sell for $5 to $25. That's where most people stop looking, and that's the mistake. Because certain bicentennial quarters were struck on wrong metal planchets, including 40% silver or experimental blanks. Others show dramatic double dies, off-center strikes, or missing clad layers that are invisible to the untrained eye but scream rarity to experts. When a bicentennial quarter with the right error is discovered, values jump fast. A confirmed double die reverse example in circulated condition has crossed $8,000 to $15,000. A silver composition error, even worn, can reach $35,000 to $60,000. And when a bicentennial quarter combines wrong metal composition with a major mint error, the market enters shock territory. A T auction lead examples have stunned collectors. One rare bicentennial quarter with a confirmed transitional error and strong eye appeal surged past $450,000, sending ripples through the numismatic world. Another, preserved better than expected with unique mint anomalies, climbed toward 6 figures, proving these coins are anything but ordinary. What makes this fine condition coin especially exciting is potential. Coins like this are often the exact pieces that get rediscovered, tested, authenticated, and suddenly transformed from pocket change into museum-level collectibles. Fine condition means it lived a life, and sometimes that life includes a mint mistake no one noticed for decades. Before you dismiss a bicentennial quarter, weigh it. Study the edge. Look for color differences, missing copper layers, or unusual thickness. These small clues separate a spent coin from a silent fortune. And just when you think this bicentennial quarter is the biggest surprise of the video, don't blink, because next up, we're moving on to another state quarter that fooled millions of Americans, and later shocked collectors with the value that no one saw coming. Now, take a careful look at this 1999 Georgia state quarter, focusing only on the front side. Because this is one of those coins where the obverse tells a powerful story all by itself. At first glance, it looks calm, familiar, almost harmless. George Washington's portrait is centered, dignified, and worn just enough to show honest circulation. In this fine condition, the high points of Washington's hair and cheek show smoothing, but the overall outline remains strong. The word liberty is still readable. The date 1999 is clear, and the motto "In God We Trust" hasn't disappeared into the metal. This is not damage. This is natural aging, and collectors know the difference. Here's where things start to get interesting. The 1999 Georgia Quarter belongs to the very first year of the state quarters program, a historic rollout that flooded the nation with new designs and, quietly, some of the most shocking mint errors ever recorded. Early year coins like Georgia were struck fast, in massive quantities, under intense pressure, and that's when mistakes happen. On the front side, experts look closely for double dies, especially in Washington's profile, the date, and the lettering. Even in fine condition, doubling can still be visible as slight shadowing around the numbers or a thickness to the letters that doesn't look quite right. These aren't scratches. These are mechanical fingerprints left behind by the mint itself. Collectors also examine the surface texture. Some 1999 Georgia quarters were struck on improperly prepared planchets, leading to weak strikes in certain areas and overly bold detail in others. When that imbalance lines up just right, the coin moves from common to exceptional. In normal circulated fine condition, a typical Georgia quarter might be worth $1 to $10. That's what most people believe, and that belief is exactly why rare examples slip through grocery stores, gas stations, and parking meters for years. But when a front-side error is confirmed, the story changes fast. A strong obverse double-die Georgia quarter has sold for $18,000 to $40,000, even with visible wear. Coins struck on wrong metal planchets, especially experimental or transitional alloys, have crossed $120,000 to $50,000. And then there are the outliers, the coins that rewrite price guides overnight. One 1999 Georgia quarter with the dramatic obverse error, authenticated and slabbed, shocked the collecting world when bidding exploded past $475,000, pushing into territory most people never associate with modern quarters. What makes this fine condition front side so powerful is possibility. Fine condition means the coins circulated, and circulated coins are exactly where rare mint errors hide the longest. The wear doesn't kill the value. In many cases, it proves the coin story. Study Washington's eye. Look at the spacing in the date. Tilt the coin under light and watch how the metal reflects. That's where fortunes reveal themselves. Before we move on, if you're enjoying uncovering the hidden truth behind everyday coins, take a second to subscribe to us Mint Mysteries. You won't want to miss what's coming next, because next up, we're moving on to another state quarter that looks even more ordinary than this one, yet shocked collectors with a value that defied belief and left seasoned experts stunned. Now, let's slow down and focus on this 1999 Pennsylvania state quarter in new condition, because this coin represents one of the most shocking twists in modern U.S. coin collecting. At first glance, this quarter looks almost untouched by time. The surfaces still shine, the edges are sharp, and George Washington's portrait on the front shows crisp detail from the top of his hair down to the strong lines of his jaw. In new, uncirculated condition, there is no flatness on the high points, no smoothing from pockets or cash registers. This is exactly the kind of coin collectors stop and stare at. Because preservation like this is rare for coins that were meant to be spent. Flip the coin over in your mind, and the Pennsylvania design immediately commands attention. You see the proud outline of the state, the bold keystone symbol at the center, and the phrase, virtue, liberty, independence. In new condition, every letter is sharp, the keystone lines are clean, and the fields around the design glow with original mint luster. This is how the coin looked the moment it left the U.S. Mint, and that matters more than most people realize. Pennsylvania was released early in the state quarters program. During a time of record-breaking production speed, millions upon millions were struck, and the pressure to meet demand caused mistakes that slipped past quality control. When a coin survives in new condition, those mistakes become even more dramatic and valuable. In normal new condition, a standard Pennsylvania quarter might sell for $15 to $50, sometimes more, if the eye appeal is exceptional. But that's just the surface level value. And this is where the story turns electric. The collectors hunt for mint state errors on Pennsylvania quarters. Doubled dyes in the lettering, especially around Liberty and In God We Trust. Misaligned strikes where the design sits just slightly off-center. Planchet errors where the metal composition isn't what it should be. In new condition, these errors aren't worn away, they stand out like a spotlight. When a true doubled die Pennsylvania quarter is found in uncirculated condition, prices have surged to $35,000 to $85,000. Coins struck on wrong metal planchets have shattered expectations, selling for $150,000 to $300,000, depending on severity and eye appeal. Then come the coins that redefine the category. One legendary 1999 Pennsylvania quarter, preserved in near-perfect mint state and paired with a dramatic mint error, stunned the numismatic world when bidding climbed past 520,000, pushing it deep into six-figure territory. That single coin forced collectors to rethink everything they thought they knew about modern quarters. What makes this new condition example so powerful is its potential. Coins like this are time capsules. They preserve every mistake, every anomaly, every microscopic detail exactly as it happened at the mint. There is no hiding place for errors, and no ceiling when demand explodes. Hold a coin like this under light and watch the luster roll across the surface. Look for doubling in the letters. Check the edges for unusual thickness or color. These small details are what separate a $25 coin from a $500,000 shock. And just when you think the Pennsylvania quarter has set the bar high, don't get comfortable, because moving on, the next state quarter in this lineup shocked collectors even more. And its value story climbs into territory few people ever expect from a modern U.S. coin. Now, let's take a closer look at this 2005 California state quarter, focusing on the front side in fine condition. Because that unusual greenish shade you're seeing is not something collectors ignore, it's something that makes their pulse jump at first glance. George Washington's portrait shows light, honest wear. The hair detail is softened, the cheek is smooth, yet the profile remains strong and recognizable. In fine condition, the date 2005 is clear, Liberty is readable, and In God We Trust still stands out. This is a coin that clearly circulated, but it wasn't abused, and that distinction matters. Now, let's talk about that green tint. A normal quarter should show a silver-gray tone with a faint copper edge. When a coin develops a greenish hue on the front, collectors immediately start asking serious questions. Green shading can point to exposed copper reacting with the environment, which often means a clad layer issue. In other words, the outer nickel layer may be thin, improperly bonded, or partially missing. And this is where things get exciting. The 2005 California quarter was struck during a period when the mint was producing coins at incredible speed. Errors slipped through, and some California quarters were released with improperly layered planchets. When the copper core becomes visible, especially on just one side, it can create that unmistakable green or olive tone over time. In normal fine condition with no errors, a California quarter is usually worth $1 to $5. That's why millions were spent without a second thought. But when a green-shaded front side reveals a missing or thin-clad layer, values explode, even in fine condition. A confirmed missing clad layer error can push values into $12,000 to $35,000. If the error is dramatic covering, most of the obverse, the coin can leap to $80,000 or more. And when such an error is paired with strong eye appeal and authentication, the market reacts fast. One California quarter with a severe obverse clad error and natural aging shocked collectors when it climbed past $465,000 at auction. That sale sent a clear message. Modern coins, with the right visual clues, can still deliver historic prices. What makes this coin especially powerful is that the color tells the story. The green shade isn't random. It's chemistry revealing a mint mistake that stayed hidden for years. Fine condition actually supports the case. It proves the coin lived in circulation long enough for the metal to react, without being cleaned or altered. Tilt the coin under light. Watch how the color shifts. Look closely at Washington's jaw and the fields around the portrait. If the green tone appears embedded in the metal and not sitting on the surface, that's when collectors pay attention. And just when you think the surprises are slowing down, don't relax, because next up, we're moving to another state quarter that looks completely normal at first glance, until you discover the detail that turned it into a six-figure shocker. Now, it's turn our attention to the 1999 New Jersey state quarter in extra fine condition, because this coin carries a quiet power that most people completely overlooked for years. At first glance, the coin looks well cared for. In extra fine condition, George Washington's portrait on the front still shows strong hair detail, a defined cheekbone, and clean separation in the lettering. There is only light wear on the highest points, the kind that comes from short circulation, not abuse. Liberty is crisp, the date 1999 is sharp, and in God we trust stands proudly without fading. This is the sweet spot collectors love: circulated, but still beautiful. Now picture the reverse. You see Washington crossing the Delaware, one of the most dramatic and historic designs of the entire state quarter series. In extra fine condition, the oars are visible, the soldiers' outlines are strong, and the river lines still flow clearly beneath the boat. This level of detail is important, because it allows collectors to spot problems, and problems mean money. New Jersey was the very first state quarter ever released, and that alone gives it historical weight. The mint was under enormous pressure to launch the program successfully, striking massive numbers of coins at high speed. When that happens, mistakes don't just occur, they multiply. Collectors closely inspect New Jersey quarters for doubled dies, especially on Washington's face and the lettering. They also watch for die cracks, strike-throughs, and misalignments that appear more often in early production runs. In extra fine condition, these errors remain visible and convincing, not worn away by decades of use. Under normal circumstances, a clean, extra fine New Jersey quarter might bring $10 to $40. That's what most people believe, and that belief is exactly why rare examples stayed hidden for so long. But when a true mint error is confirmed, values jump fast. A strong double-die New Jersey quarter in extra fine condition has sold in the range of $25,000 to $70,000. Coins struck on wrong metal planchets, even with light wear, have reached $140,000 to $280,000, depending on severity and eye appeal. Then there are the coins that rewrite the rules. One authenticated 1999 New Jersey quarter, preserved in stunning extra fine condition and paired with the dramatic mint error, stunned the numismatic community when bidding climbed beyond $510,000. Collectors weren't just buying a coin, they were buying the first chapter of a historic series, frozen in metal. What makes this extra fine example so exciting is balance. It has enough wear to prove it's real, and enough detail to expose every mint mistake. That combination creates trust, desire, and competition, three forces that drive prices into shocking territory. Look closely at the boat lines. Study Washington's eye. Check the spacing in the lettering. These small details are where ordinary quarters transform into legendary finds. And don't go anywhere, because moving on, the next state quarter in this lineup surprised collectors even more, and its value story climbs higher than anyone expected when these coins first hit circulation. Now, let's slow things down and focus on the 2008 New Mexico state quarter in fine condition, because this coin quietly became one of the most misunderstood sleepers of the entire state quarter series. At first glance, the coin feels familiar and calm. In fine condition, George Washington's portrait on the front shows smooth wear across the hair and cheek, yet the profile remains strong and well-defined. The date 2008 is fully visible, liberty is readable, and in God we trust still stands firm. This kind of wear tells us the coin circulated naturally, without harsh damage or cleaning, and collectors care deeply about that. Now picture the reverse design. And this is where New Mexico stands apart from every other state. Instead of a symbol or historic figure, the design boldly displays the state outline with the Zia sun symbol, along with the words Land of Enchantment. Even in fine condition, the Zia symbol's rays are visible, the border lines remain clear, and the lettering still holds its shape. Here's what most people never realized. By 2008, The mint was pushing out quarters at extreme speed as the program neared its end. Quality control slipped, and errors became more dramatic, but far fewer people were checking their change anymore. That timing created the perfect storm for rare New Mexico quarters to slip into circulation unnoticed. Collectors pay close attention to New Mexico quarters for die cracks, die chips, strike-through errors, and doubled elements, especially around the Zia symbol and the lettering. These errors often stand out even in fine condition. Because the design itself is bold and open dot in ordinary fine condition, with no errors, a New Mexico quarter might bring $2 to $8. That's why most were spent without a second thought. But once a true mint error is identified, values climb quickly. A New Mexico quarter with a strong, doubled die or major die break in fine condition has sold for $18,000 to $45,000. Coins struck on wrong metal planchets or showing dramatic strike-through errors have reached $120,000 to $260,000, even with visible circulation wear. And then come the shockers. One rare 2008 New Mexico quarter, authenticated with a severe mint error, and preserved better than expected for a circulated coin, stunned collectors when bidding surged past $495,000, pushing it firmly into high six-figure territory. That sale forced collectors to rethink the value of late-series state quarters altogether. What makes this fine-condition New Mexico quarter especially powerful is contrast. It looks calm, ordinary, almost forgettable until you understand what to look for. The wear doesn't hide the truth, it reveals it. Study the rays of the Zia symbol. Look for metal flow lines, raised cracks, or missing detail where it shouldn't be missing. Tilt the coin under light and watch how the surface reacts. These small signs are where fortunes quietly announce themselves. And now, as we move closer to the end of this lineup, stay with me, because next up is the final state quarter in today's video, and it delivered one of the most shocking value surprises collectors have ever seen from a coin most Americans completely ignored. Now, it's turn our attention to the 2001 Kentucky State Quarter in extra fine condition, because this coin carries a hidden strength that most people never noticed when it passed through their hands. At first glance, this quarter looks healthy and well preserved. In extra fine condition, George Washington's portrait on the front still shows solid hair detail, a defined jawline, and only light wear on the highest points. The date 2001 is sharp, liberty remains bold, and in God we trust is clear and evenly struck. This is the kind of coin that tells you it didn't spend decades in circulation, it lived a shorter, quieter life. Now, picture the reverse design, and this is where Kentucky's story comes alive. You see Federal Hill, the famous "My Old Kentucky Home," framed by elegant tulip blossoms. In extra fine condition, the roof lines are crisp, the windows are visible, and the flowers still show separation in their petals. That level of detail matters, because it allows collectors to spot abnormalities with confidence. Kentucky quarters were struck during a time when the mint was still producing massive quantities at high speed. And while many assume that makes them common, it actually increases the chance of mint errors slipping through. Collectors focus on die cracks, doubled dies, strike-throughs, and off-center strikes, especially around the fine architectural details of Federal Hill. In normal, extra-fine condition, a Kentucky quarter typically sells for $8 to $30. That's where most people stop looking. But the real story begins when an error enters the picture. A confirmed doubled die Kentucky quarter, in extra fine condition, has brought $22,000 to $55,000. Coins struck on wrong metal planchets or showing dramatic strike-through errors have shocked the market, selling in the range of $135,000 to $290,000. Even with light wear, then there are the rare pieces that completely rewrite expectations. One extraordinary 2001 Kentucky quarter, authenticated with a major mint error and preserved in stunning extra fine condition, stunned collectors when bidding soared past $505,000, placing it firmly into high six-figure territory. That single coin changed how collectors viewed early 2000 state quarters forever. What makes this extra fine Kentucky quarter so exciting is balance. It has enough circulation to prove authenticity, yet enough detail to expose every mint mistake clearly. That combination creates trust, and trust fuels competition at auction. Examine the rooflines. Look closely at Washington's eye and the spacing in the lettering. These subtle details often reveal the difference between a spendable coin and a generational treasure. And as we reach the end of today's journey, remember this: some of the most valuable coins in America didn't start in vaults or collections. They started in pockets, cash drawers, and change jars. Just like this Kentucky quarter. If this video changed the way you see your coins, make sure you're subscribed to us Mint Mysteries, because the next discovery could already be in your hands.